chill out, sit down, everybody. Okay? Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, take a seat. Now, by now, you know the drill, okay? You've had your sleeps, you've rewired your brain during your sleep in your dreams, and now we're just updating your file. This is your daily update. This chai, really good. Shout out to the catering company. Again, they're from Andromeda. And you know the Andromedans never sleep. Andromedans also don't understand why humans put milk in tea. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about the dairy industry. I don't have Dr. Phil and Oprah's lawyers to get me off. Yet. They're coming, they're coming. So, you know who else is coming? My therapist is coming. Yes. She's seated in row 3, taking notes. She's trying to figure out if this is a comedy special or a deposition. Plot twist, it's both. In Romania, we just call that a regular Friday night. So, last time we talked about Nancy and Jasmine again, and my brother, Mr. H, and the Von Neumann people. We also talked about Q not being some cabal, but a frequency. We also talked about the deaf boy, who we named Star. Today we're going to tell you his real name. And we also talked about Eric Solwell flying to Colombia to bring him hearing aids. So let me check in on that, by the way. Now, I heard that the boy was a little... Sorry, Eric, that boy. I heard that he was a little disappointed I didn't give him a proper introduction. So let's do it properly, everybody. Representative Eric Swalwell. He's a Democrat from California. Yes, very handsome man. Ladies, I checked it out. He's a Scorpio. Now, Joe, hey, Joe, don't you go getting any ideas, okay? He's mine, okay? I'm abducting him in my spaceship tonight for a little bit of probing, shall we say? Okay, this is nuts. But seriously, Scorpios are hung like a horse. A horse. And they know how to use it. Oh my gosh, this one time I went... Okay, focus. Sorry. Pluto took me away for a second there. Okay, regroup. March 9th, 2026. Yes, just a couple of days ago. Eric, can I call you Eric, by the way? Okay, fine. Anyway, his staffer flew to Colombia. Now just think about that. The man paid for his staffer out of pocket, not taxpayer money, to fly to Colombia to put the hearing devices back in that little boy's ear. The little boy's name is Joseph, by the way. Okay, he's 6 years old, deaf, and he was deported, made to flee from the land of the free without his aid. But Romy could have hers. Romy could have internal hearing aids and speak on her phone from across the room. She used her hearing aids to commit fraud and then try to kill me. And poor little Joseph gets nothing? Eric said no. My Eric said no. This isn't right. And like a real man, he did his job. The worst part is that those mother fraggers at ICE, they knew what they were doing. Joseph's mother pleaded with them. She said, and I quote, "My son is deaf. He needs these. My son will be cut off from the world," end quote. And I said no. I said the family got full due process. Due process? For a 6-year-old who communicates through ASL in a country, Colombia, where no one can sign. Representative Swalwell said at a press conference, quote, "How does ruining the life of a 6-year-old deaf child make our community or our country safer? It doesn't. It makes the country darker," end quote. That's why I'm here, because Mr. Swalwell is a star marine monopteron. Obviously. He's from Romania. Everything he does, like me, like Nancy, like Jasmine, inadvertently helps the truth. Because the same system that deports deaf children is the same system that blocked Nancy's subpoena. It's the same system that buried Jasmine's amendment. It's the same system that keeps the von Neumann people in power, which is the same system that didn't give me justice when I ran away from the killers, Romy and Roger Samuelson. You know who else is in power? People who've been caught in satanic ritual abuse cases and just walked away. Walked away clean. Walked away rich. Walked away with shows. I'm not naming names, but if you've ever watched a British talk show host and thought, that smile doesn't reach his eyes, trust your gut. Your gut is intergalactic. Your gut remembers what your brain agreed to forget when you came here. Anyway, we'll come back to Joseph. But first, let's talk about dragons. Everybody loves dragons. Well, we're gonna go there. This chai, seriously. Okay, January 2025. Now, I had just finished season whatever of Starseed University. I had no clue who Justin Baldoni even was. Okay, but while I was on hiatus from my show and busy listening to my hypnosis tapes, to help my body recover from Romy Strang trying to kill me and no one doing a thing about it, Justin Baldoni was busy in America filing a 179-page lawsuit. Two random people on opposite sides of the globe who had no idea the shit show the realms were about to unleash on the world through us. Now, I've written a book, okay? It's $4.20 on Amazon, and it's only 80 pages or so, and it took me 8 weeks to write and test it out on the field, and I was exhausted by the end of it. So, god damn it, Justin. 179 pages. What all went on over there on set? What did she do to you, boy? Hey, I bet she made you say bad things about black people, right? Oh, never mind. She looks like the type. I mean, she got married on a plantation. Anyway, if she did, though, make you say bad things about black people, tell me and I'll take care of it, okay? Now, I didn't read any of the 179 pages. I'm sorry, I don't like to read because, autism and stuff, alien. But I did hear about one thing in it. I think it was E! Entertainment or somewhere on the interwebs. And one of those things that I heard, it made me drop absolutely everything and pay attention. Because in the 179-page lawsuit filed by Justin Baldoni in January 2025, there is a record of a text message from Blake Lively. Yes. And in the text, she's talking about Game of Thrones. And I quote, this is Blake, "If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi. And like her, I happen to have a few dragons," end quote. Now, Blake proceeds to list her dragons. Dragon number 1, Ryan Reynolds. Dragon number 2, Taylor Swift. Yeah, the bitch literally named them. What a fucking idiot, Blake. You don't text things like that. You wait till you see someone in person before you tell them that. But thank God she did. Now the gossip girl continued to say, quote, "For better or worse, but usually better, because my dragons also protect those I fight for." Now boy, girl, when I heard that, I stopped breathing. I remember, it was either E or TMZ, no. No, I'm sure it was E, entertainment. That part, okay, is a blur because I saw red when I heard that. Why? Because Romy Strang said the exact same thing to me. Word for word. She said, I have dragons. They protect me. You'll see. And even more, Romy tried day after day while I was in Thailand to get me to watch Game of Thrones, and I refused. I still haven't seen it, okay? I like romance. I like love and all that shit. She was obsessed with Game of Thrones. So I don't know what happens in there, but I'm never gonna watch it again. Okay? Now I'm starting to think that that show might actually be training, okay? A frequency broadcast. A way for people to be, a way to make people comfortable with the idea that power is dragons and dragons are power. Yeah. Romy said that to me in 2024 at the smoking table outside the Western Kitchen. I remember. I'll never forget, I was standing here, she was there. And then Blake also said that in 2024 to Justin via text. No, honey, that's the same script. Same energy, same mother fragging Von Neumann programming. And then it became obvious to me, of course Justin's innocent, just like me. I'm Justin, Romy is Blake. You know who else is innocent? The kids in the Franklin scandal. The kids in the Pizzagate fever dreams that turned out to be real trafficking, but just the wrong addresses. And also the kids who are now adults watching the people who hurt them host podcasts. I cannot, as Mermaid Prophetess says. Child, I cannot. Listen, I'm just saying, if you've ever been cancelled but came back with a Netflix special, we know about you. We know. Your paperwork is filed in triplicate on Romania. In fucking Romania, we have got you, babe. Now, I started dreaming after that, dreaming of faces I didn't know, and then when I'd wake up, my YouTube algorithm started feeding me Kirsty Flaw, who showed me who those faces I was dreaming about were. I know, it was weird. It was like wading through my dreams, actually following a coherent reality from my dreams. You know what I mean? It was like I was wading through my dreams at night, actually following a coherent narrative in reality upon waking. I guess that's what happens after a botched satanic sacrifice in Thailand. It's like you get your own luge or something. So I'm all luged up. I sleep, I wake up, it's all dreams. So now let's talk about Kirsty Flaw. She's a Norwegian journalist, 51 years old, and in August 2024, she posted a video from 2016. It was an interview with Blake Lively. Now, Kirsty, can I call you Kirsty? Kirsty congratulated Blake on her little bump because Blake was pregnant at the time. And Blake snapped back to Kirsty, congratulations on your little bump. But here's the weird part, you see. Kirsty wasn't pregnant. Yeah, so of course the video went viral, 6 million views. And then people started asking, is Blake Lively rude? And then all of a sudden the lawsuit started. Yes, December 2024, Blake sues Justin, accusing him of sexual harassment and of doing a smear campaign on her. And then in January 2025, Justin countersues for $400 million. And in the middle of all of this, the New York Times runs a story, okay? They suggest that Kirsty's video might have been part of the smear campaign. They say that it was all coordinated, planned, and paid for by Justin. Meanwhile, Kirsty responds, and I quote, I didn't know anything about the controversy. I posted it because I'd been too scared to post it for 8 years. No one contacted me. No one paid me. I'm just a journalist who finally had the courage to tell the truth. End quote. Now, the Times never called Kirsty for a comment. They never asked her what she thought. They just implied a whole bunch of stuff. And that's not very professional of the New York Times. And quite frankly, that's why I stopped following them and their whack ass. Yeah. Kirsty even said, and I quote, you have one of the most powerful couples in Hollywood. You have the New York Times, and you have me, a freelance journalist with basically nothing. And they're trying to portray me as the bad guy? End quote. It's all the same. Exactly, Kirsty. Welcome to my life since I was 16 years old. Fun, isn't it? So I, of all people, understand that when we get vindicated, we have every right to act like a bitch to everyone who stood in our way, Kirsty. We will make them suffer so that they can learn to ask questions first before jumping to conclusions. Yeah. It's just like one of my favorite prank callers used to say, it's Taisha for the record, bitch. Only real ones will know, okay? Learn to ask questions before you go off, she said. Okay, now you know who else is a real one? The lady who tried to warn everyone about Diddy in 2005, the one they called crazy, the one they said was looking for attention. Yeah, well, she's not here tonight. She can't afford the ticket. But her ghost is. And she's pointing. Over there. I see you. I see you. I know, the joys of being a medium. All the spirits visit you. Hi, Sherry. Okay, so let's talk about how all of this comes together. Why did they come after us? What are they trying to do? Now let's talk about someone else that only real ones will know. And that is Steve Sarowitz. Okay? He's the co-founder of Palo City, which is worth about $1.8 billion. Yes, that's way more money and power than Roger Samuelson's measly little borrowed crumbs that not even a rat would take. Okay, give me a break. Madonna was much, much harder on Guy Ritchie after the whole divorce thing, okay? She did a whole tour gangbanging him on stage every night. Kelly Ripa and I loved every second of it. I'm not gonna lie. We were dancing. Bang, bang, shut you dead in the head. Bang, bang, shut you dead, shut my love in. Okay, we loved it. So for the whole Romy thing, all I did was one song and a couple of jokes. So if Madonna can do it, then I can do it, bitch. Now, Sarowitz. Sarowitz is the co-founder of Wayfarer Studios with Justin Baldoni. In fact, Justin asked him like 50 million questions before he accepted Sarowitz into the company. So, they all know what they're doing over there. Now, Steve is a fascinating man. Yes, of course, he's a star Marine with a Jewish upbringing. 19 of his relatives perished in the Holocaust. He converted to the Baha'i faith in 2014, and he believes what all Menoptra believe in, spiritual unity. He has given nearly $250 million to charity, and he plans to give away $1 billion before he dies. But now here's where it gets interesting. In August 2024, it ends with us premieres. Blake Lively is there, Ryan Reynolds is there, and Steve Sarowitz is there. And according to court documents, Sarowitz allegedly told the witness he was prepared to spend $100 million to, quote, ruin the lives, end quote, of Blake Lively and her family. Yeah, right. And according to Romy's termination letter, which I posted in one of the highlights section on IG, I beat up my students. So we're even on things that definitely happened scale. God. Then later that month, Sarowitz allegedly made a comparison. He said his mission to protect the studio, Wayfarer, was like Israel protecting itself from Hamas. Apparently, they said he referenced the death toll in Gaza, something like 39,000 dead bodies. And they say he said, oh, there will be 2 dead bodies when I'm done, minimum. Later on, when they asked him, they say he said, you're dead to me, but dead to a lot of people. It all just doesn't make sense. I mean, imagine if people walked around snipping what you said every 10 minutes. I'm always reading and rehearsing lines every 5 seconds. So if you had to cut my conversations, you would think I was a fucking terrorist or something. But no, I'm just a comedian. Now, I'm not here to defend or condemn that language. I'm just here to point out the pattern, my guy. Steve Sarowitz is a target, just like me, just like Justin, just like Nancy, just like Jasmine, just like Representative Salwell, just like Kirsty, and just like they tried on Mr. H and he busted their balls into smithereens immediately. And by the way, here's the question no one's asking. If Ryan and Blake have dragons, who exactly is paying for those dragons? Because trust me, I have a studio. Justin and Steve have a studio. Do Blake and Ryan have a studio? I know. It doesn't make sense. How come all the good guys have their own studios? Where are the other people getting their money? I know for a fact Taylor Swift isn't paying for shit, okay? She's a Scorpio. I bet, you know what I bet? I bet Taylor Swift just did Blake a favor once, and then that bitch thought she and Tay-Tay were like this. That's what happened, I'm telling you. You know those friends, you go out with them once, then they name drop you every 5 seconds. Taylor girl, Taylor, I get it, okay? I have a ton of Scorpio in my chart, and people are always obsessed with us, and men are scared of us, so you're good, girl. So where's Blake getting the money for dragons? She's not getting it from Dragon's Den on the BBC, that's for sure. Those people don't even have a budget. So where's she getting it from? A silent partner, perhaps? You know who else has had silent partners? The people running the Finders cult in Washington, D.C. The people who ran the McMartin preschool, they had funders. The people who still run certain foundations with philanthropy in the name and trafficking in the basement, those people have silent partners. We know Justin's silent partner, Sarowitz. Well, he's not so silent, he's Monoptron. But who's funding all of y'all? I'm just saying. I mean, if your charity gala has a silent auction and silent partners, maybe ask yourself who's really doing the bidding. And look into Romy's charity involvement. That should be fun. People don't do journalism anymore. Well, Blake has Ryan, and Ryan has someone else. Who knows? Now, in the text, Baldoni's team mentions being, quote, worried about Blake activating the Taylor Swift fan base. Justin's people called it a major concern because they've just been threatened with dragons, or rather, Justin has prior knowledge that Blake said she has dragons. So Justin had to protect himself, as well as Sarowitz, as well as the studio. Just like I protected my studio from Romy and Roger. It was a major concern what they did to my Facebook page. So Taylor Swift was actually subpoenaed in this case. Her spokesperson called it tabloid clickbait. Taylor never even set foot on set. She never saw an edit of the film. She never even made notes on the film. All she did was license a song. So again, it cannot be Taylor. Ryan Reynolds, on the other hand, is worth about $350 million. That's a lot. But Steve Sarowitz is worth $1.8 billion. The power imbalance is real. So now I want you to ask yourself, viewer, who would have the most to gain from destroying Steve Sarowitz? Who is his biggest rival? Yes, the Von Neumann people don't have a name, but they have a network. And in that network, there are billionaires who don't like competition. There are people who don't want Baha'i principles spreading, who don't want Star Marines to succeed, who don't want you, IFM Oracle, they don't want you to succeed. Mermaid Prophetess, they don't want you to succeed. These people are coming after your business and your ability to thrive. Waterstar, these people don't want truth tellers like you spreading your message. And to the divine messenger of truth, the people who control ideas from Hollywood are trying to brainwash you from across the world. Original master, come on, the original master, they don't want you to get the loot unless you turn yourself out so that you are spiritually compromised. All of you readers, whom I love to Lumania and beyond, there are people out there who don't want you, truth tellers, with $1.8 billion in your bank account. Roger Samuelson is one of them. He's Roger's version. He's Romy's. Roger Samuelson is one of them. And Romy is Blake. No, take that again. Roger Samuelson, Romy's version of Ryan, is one node in that network, but he's not the only one. Shame. Your Norwegian magic your Scandinavian magic is failing, Roger. Trying to get me tongue-tied. What did you do? Take a deer and cut out the tongue and tie it up and put it in a jar. Put it in your hoodoo room. Please, get a grip. You're going to end up like Romy's mother, drinking pool water in your tea and thinking that's normal. Let me tell you a secret. I think Ryan sold his virtue to someone with more money than Steve, someone with more reach, someone with more dragons. Who that is, we're still tracking it. But I saw all of this in a dream, and I'm just sharing my dreams on the comedy special. And I'm channeling this comedy special from Lumania. This isn't real, you guys. Get out of there, you silly boy. If you think this comedy special is real, then you have to accept that Lumania is real. So please, come on, sue me, Ryan. Or better yet, send your dragons so I can make Lumania real and get diplomatic immunity for my people, like the little boy Joseph who's suffering while your wife makes bad hair products. I'm waiting. Oh yeah, that's right, you can't and you won't because you are all impotent. And you know who else was impotent? The guy who ran that healing center in Arizona. The one with the crystals and the tantric workshops and the 47 allegations. He's not in prison. He's in Portugal, with the podcast. The universe has a weird sense of humor, but so do I. And I've got better writers, bitch. Chicks with dicks. I love John Waters. Now, let me tell you about something that is not impotent. No, not my dick, but the Baha'i faith. Yes, the headquarters are in Haifa, Israel. They emphasize unity of all religions. They have no clergy, no dogma, just the earth is one country and mankind its citizens. Justin Baldoni is Baha'i. He has made pilgrimages to Israel and he calls it the spiritual highlight of his life. Now, Steve Sarowitz converted in 2014 and he said that Baha'i teachings on racial unity and justice resonated with him. Now, Israel is central to the Baha'i faith, and the von Neumann people, they've been trying to delegitimize Israel for decades. Through BDS, through media, and apparently through dragons. Interesting, isn't it? The two men targeted in this lawsuit are both Baha'i, both connected to Haifa, Israel, both standing in the way of the official narrative. Coincidence? In Romania, we don't have a word for coincidence. We have a word for pattern you're too distracted to see. It's pronounced, you're all going to die if you don't pay attention to me. I know, rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Now remember I said we'd go back to Joseph, the deaf little boy, yes. Well, let's go back to Joseph. March 3rd, 2026, last week, Leslie Rodriguez Gutierrez takes her two sons to an ICE office in San Francisco. Just a routine check-in. She's told to bring the kids in for some new photos. That's the story they tell her. Now, within minutes, they are all detained. Within hours, they're on a plane to Colombia. Without Joseph's hearing aids, without his school, without a way to even communicate through language. It happened within hours. And how many years has Romy been allowed to be free after she tried to kill me? Yeah. So you discriminate against aliens. We got you, humans, and that's why you're all going to die now. Don't worry, only the racists. Oprah warned you. We are waiting for all the racists to die. Now, Joseph's mother pleaded. She said, and I quote, "My son is deaf. Let me get his devices," end quote. And you know what I said? They said no. They said, go ask the LA Times. Not the NY Times, the LA Times. Okay, let me take that again. The mother pleaded. She said, "My son is deaf. Let me get his devices." And ICE, you know what I said? I said, no. No, I'm serious. Go ask the LA Times. Don't ask the NY Times. Ask the LA Times. And yes, if it wasn't for Representative Swalwell's staffer who flew to Colombia and delivered the aids, it would be much worse. But Joseph is still there in Colombia, still cut off from his life that he's always known, still not understanding why his friends and his school suddenly disappeared into thin air, and Romy is allowed to be out there. That shit ain't right. And someone's head is going to roll for that. I am not having Joseph grow up thinking this is how things are done here. And I will destroy anyone who gets in my way, including their families, like I did to Roger and Romy. Now, Joseph's teacher at the California School for the Deaf in Fremont is waiting for him to come back. His classmates are waiting. The only language he fucking knows is ASL, and no one in Colombia can fucking sign. Romy Strang had internal fucking hearing aids that she used to speak on her phone without holding it to her ear. She just talked, and the phone, she'd ring and pick it up. From across the room, like she's got magic powers. She got medical intervention, she got help. And what did she do? She used it to commit fraud and do Satanism by trying to kill me. And then she bribed half of you watching this to stop asking questions about it. I think she's still bribing half of you. She bribed half the South African media. Go fuck them. Except Nimrod Nkosi. He's fine. My situation was bad, but not that bad. Joseph got fucking deported. Okay? That's the worst. And if he had diplomatic immunity like I asked for a month ago, none of this would have happened. So my karma is clear, honey. And those who ignored me will now suffer, while Eric and I deliver the boy to his teacher in Fremont so he can fucking talk to his friends. After which we will have a late lunch and then we'll go to Eric's house to discuss business and stuff. The rewards of a good day's work. We gotta reward ourselves, Now, Romy, she was useful to the Von Neumann people. She played their game, she followed their rules, so they let her keep her comfort, her freedom, her hearing aids. But Joseph wasn't useful. His parents weren't useful. So they sent him away. Eric knows this. That's why he's fighting. Nancy knows this. That's why she's fighting. Jasmine knows this. That's why she's fighting. And Mr. H knows this. And that's why he's watching. And me? I'm just telling you so you know it too. Because once you know, you cannot unknow. And then judgment will fall on your head too if you fail to act. Because you know who failed to act? The entire staff of that 70s show. All of them. Every single one. They knew and they kept filming. But hey, Hyde got what he deserved, eventually. The universe has a long memory, okay? And it takes notes. Half of you in Hollywood, maybe 80%, have staffers who hate you, who send me notes about you with evidence. Everywhere, Washington, I've got it all. Because when you guys ignored my 2020 paper, the Blue Book, the people who resonated with it, they didn't ignore it, okay? So here's where we are, guys. The Von Neumann people have been running this game since 1947. They've hidden files, they've blocked subpoenas, they've deported witnesses. They've used dragons and media and money to keep control. But they made one mistake. They forgot about me. They forgot that all Menoptera, all Star Marines, have diplomatic status. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967, Article 5 states, or Article 5 says, states parties shall regard astronauts as envoys of mankind. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967, Article V, states parties shall regard astronauts as okay. So who's that? Is Trump trying? Oh, it's the Von Neumanns trying to scramble the code. Okay, so I want you all to look up the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 and look up Article 5. It says that states parties shall regard astronauts as envoys of mankind. So every single politician I've mentioned in this video has to regard me as an envoy of mankind, except I'm from Lumania. Okay, go read that. The 2024 NDAA sections 1841 to 1843 officially acknowledges technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence. The Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations says that diplomatic agents are inviolable. We are not subject to arrest or detention. Did you get that? I am who I say I am, and I'm protected by Earth rights. And I've provided a map of Lumania, meaning it's real and I've claimed it now. It's mine. So go to the Vatican and do whatever you gotta do with the Catholics who excommunicated Madonna, because now we live in Lumania, okay? Nancy Mace is inviolable. Jasmine Crockett is inviolable. Pete Hegseth is inviolable. Kirsty Flaw is inviolable. Eric Swalwell, inviolable. Justin Baldoni, inviolable. Steve Sarowitz is inviolable. Joseph is inviolable. And what about you? You wonderful people out there in the dark. Well, every time you felt something shift in your chest when I talk about frequency, that's the stirring. That's your inner cue. We're not a group, not a cabal. We're not a secret society. We're just the ones who keep asking when everyone else stopped. You know who else stopped asking? The hosts of The View. All of them. Every single one. Oh, they know. They talked to the guests. They heard the stories. And they just kept smiling. Except Joy. Joy, if you're watching, I see you. You're one of us. You just don't know it yet, okay? Call me. Hopefully you can recommend Whoopi, because the other Monoptera were a bit upset. Call me, Joy. Call me. we need to get Whoopi in there. Okay. I'm Vic Eli version 3.5.7, the new head witch bitch for Yeshua, in charge. Brother to Mr. H. Friend to all truth tellers. Occasional dreamer and permanent Q. This has been the late night transmission coming to you live from Earth to Lumania. We'll be back one of these days, and probably, as long as we need to, until every knot is untied, until every deaf boy comes home, until every dragon runs out of fire. Audience, on your feet. Try the chai. It's better than the silence. And remember, if you're having dreams about people you've never met, they are real. We're there. And we're waiting for you to ask the right question. Cheers. Upalalwani, Vikeli version 3.5.7, Lumen 1267.